Welcome to week 6. Last week, we explored the automation landscape and compared n8n to its competitors. This week, we're going back to our primary tool and going deeper. We're going to master the techniques that separate a good n8n user from a true n8n expert. We start today with one of the most powerful skills in the entire course, how to connect n8n to any API in the world. The secret weapon is the HTTP request node. This single node can connect n8n to any service that has a web API, which is virtually every modern software application. An HTTP request node lets you make a raw API call to any URL. You specify the method, get to retrieve data, post to send data, put to update data, delete to remove data. You specify the URL. You add any required headers, like an authorization header with your API key, and you add the body of the request for post and put calls. The node then makes the call and returns the response, which you can use in subsequent nodes just like any other data. This means that if a service has an API, and almost all of them do, you can connect it to n8n, even if there is no dedicated n8n node for it. The key skill for using the HTTP request node is knowing how to read API documentation. Every API has documentation that tells you exactly how to use it. The most important things to find are the base URL, which is the root address of the API, the endpoints, which are the specific paths for different actions, the authentication method, which tells you how to prove your identity, usually an API key in a header, and the request body schema, which tells you what data to send for post and put requests. Let me show you how to translate a documentation page into an HTTP request node configuration. Here's the documentation for creating a new record in Airtable. I can see the endpoint, the required headers, and the JSON body format. I'll map each of these directly into the HTTP request node fields. One advanced technique you'll need when working with APIs is handling pagination. Most APIs don't return all their data at once. If you ask for a list of 10,000 customers, the API will return the first 100 and give you a next page token. You have to keep making requests, passing the token each time until you've retrieved all the data. In n8n, we handle this with a loop. I'll use a do-while pattern. Make the API request, check if there's a next page token in the response. If yes, loop back and make the request again with the new token. If no, exit the loop. I use a set node to store the token between iterations and a merge node to collect all the results. This pattern works for virtually any paginated API. When working with external APIs, always be mindful of rate limits. Most APIs restrict how many requests you can make per minute or per hour. Exceeding these limits will get your request blocked. Best practices: always add a wait node between iterations of a loop to introduce a small delay. Read the API documentation for the rate limit and set your wait time accordingly. Use the retry logic we learned in week 3 to handle temporary rate limit errors gracefully. The HTTP request node is your passport to the entire internet. With it, you can connect n8n to any service, any data source, any platform. This skill alone dramatically expands what you can automate. In your project today, you'll use the HTTP request node to connect to a public API that doesn't have a pre-built n8n node and retrieve and process its data. Let's get connecting. Enjoyed this lesson? Stay ahead of the curve in AI automation. Join our newsletter at news@makeittakeit.org for the latest news, tips, tool updates, and upcoming events delivered straight to your inbox. We would love to have you in our community.